Hey everybody, welcome back to Doc G's Reloading. Today I'm going to take a little different tack on talking about rifle scopes, just the Schmidt Bender brand. Okay, so I shot F-class rifle in the NRA, and I shot tactical rifle, which means you're shooting a .308 Winchester cartridge out to 1,000 yards, and out to 600 yards is the mid-range, and 1,000 is long range. And I achieved the master designation at both of those distances. In about 4 years of a lot of work and a lot of competition, a lot of shooting. And this is the scope I used. I used my Schmidt Bender, 12 to 50. Now, I never got close to 50. Even at 1,000 yards, I think I really went above 30. People think they need these super high magnifications. I do have a March scope that I'll talk about later on that goes up to 80 magnification. This one goes up to 50. 80 magnification is fine if you're shooting out to 2 miles, but you would never use an 80 magnification at 1,000 yards. 1,000 yards, I really never went above 30. I had the capacity to go up to 50 if I wanted to. I mean, these are expensive scopes. These are, I think, about 4,000 a piece, or close to it when I bought them. The lens material is high quality, and the reticles, I'm not going to get into reticle design because the reticles are whatever you want them to be. You can go on the Schmidt Bender website and you can look up their reticles and you can see which one you like the most. This one model is a PM2, police and military model 2. So you can see there as I turn it the wrong way, 12 to 50 by 56. So it's a PM2. And I have the fine reticle on this one because of the big magnification difference. So this is also, I'm going to talk real quick about these. These are American Rifle Company scope rings, and I like them because they are one bolt at the top, if you can see that. One bolt right there, and it's a clamshell kind of design, so you just literally set your scope in there, get it level, clamp the design over. It's got pivot pins right here. These are pivot pins on each side, so you have one on each side, and you literally just set your scope in there, close the clamps together, tighten them down. And you know how sometimes when you have a screw that you're tightening, sometimes there's 2 up here, sometimes there's 3 up here. As you're tightening them, the scope will rotate just a little bit. With these, you just close the clamshell, put them in, tighten them down to specs, which I think is, don't quote me on that, you have to look it up. But anyway, tighten it down, and once your torque wrench snaps, you're done, and it's on tight and perfect. And then it's got a 1 bolt mounting down here as well. So these go on so easy because you literally set your scope in there, clamp or close the clamp, make sure it's perfect, tighten them down, and you're done. There's no having to wiggle back and forth because when you tighten them, and you don't have to worry about the space in between because it's not adjusted right. These are so easy to use, and I use these on my 50 BMG, and they don't come loose. They are a fantastic scope ring. Mounting ring, absolutely brilliantly designed, and I don't use the word brilliant very often, but these are brilliantly designed. So, okay, so back to the scope. So this is a Schmidt Bender. I'm just going to talk about Schmidt Benders in this video. Again, if you want to look at their different reticle designs, check out their website. I have the 12 to 50, and I have a 5 to 25, and this one has an illuminated reticle. You can see right there, this is what you turn on to get the reticle to turn on. It has 11 different brightness settings, and on this reticle it's a pretty good sized reticle, but it just illuminates the center cross. It doesn't illuminate any other part of the reticle, so just the center cross is what's actually illuminated in that. So I have the 5 to 25, and I have the 12 to 50, and these are first focal plane reticles. So what's the first focal plane? Well, first focal plane means that when you dial in your magnification, it magnifies your reticle as well. So in this one, when I'm down on a setting of 12, that reticle is very fine and very hard to see some of the hash marks on it. Now, as I go up in magnification, and this one I used out to 1,000 yards, so I was up at the 25 to 30 range most of the time. It pulls the reticle in closer to you. The nice thing about a first focal plane reticle is that the measurements are always the same. So regardless of what your magnification is, if it says, now this is in mils, so one hash mark is 3.6 MOA roughly. That hash mark at 12 magnification is 3.6 MOA, or 1 mil. At 50 magnification, when you can really see the difference between the hash marks because it magnifies it, it's still 3.6 MOA. So that's the nice thing about it. Okay, that's an advantage to it. The disadvantage is it magnifies the reticle. So you do lose some of the reticle. Top, bottom sides, you do lose some of those hash marks as you're magnifying in. Now, I will also talk about later on, I think one of my favorite brands, if not the favorite, are the March scopes, M-A-R-C-H, just like the month. Those have Japanese glass in them, which is the greatest glass in the world for scopes. I know people talk about German glass and everything else, but Japanese seem to have some kind of technology that offers them to make fantastic glass. And the March scopes are more expensive than these, and the March scopes have, I think, the best glass in them. The image on them is perfect all the way out to the edge. Light transmission is incredible through them. If you set them side by side on a table and look through them at the same magnification, you can see a huge difference in the amount of brightness that comes through. Plus, what I love about March scopes is that you have a huge amount of eye relief from them. Other scopes you have to cheat up really close, which means you're going to get a scope bite if you don't anticipate the recoil and the scope comes back to hit you. So that's a big advantage of March scopes. But March scopes, like some other scopes, Night Force 2, a lot of those have what they call second focal plane. So second focal plane means that as you're magnifying or increasing your magnification through the scope, the reticle doesn't change at all. It stays the same. Now, the advantage to that is as you're turning, there will be certain marks on your magnification that'll say, okay, at this magnification, your hash marks are 1 MOA. If you go up to this magnification, usually double, it's half of MOA. So the difference between them is that in second focal plane, your distance between the hash marks does change depending on your magnification, whereas with first focal plane, they don't change. So those are two advantages and disadvantages of each. It just depends on what you like. I started using this and used it exclusively through my F-class shooting. I got to master level, which is in NRA F-class. Master level is similar to master level in USPSA. It's just a little different designation. But anyway, we were shooting 308 Winchester out to 1,000 yards. So with this one, you have a first focal plane reticle, and the glass on them is really, really good. It's a fantastic glass. This is here I have a sunshade on this that I'll just take off, and then you can see the sunshade here. So that's it without the sunshade on it. I almost always put a sunshade on just because they're not so big. I mean, you can stack these all the way out if you wanted to. You could put 5 of these on here if you wanted to. They all screw together. But eventually, you don't really need that. I just do this because it does offer a little bit of relief from the sun when it's at an angle, and it protects the lens a little bit more because the lens isn't right here in front. You get there's some relief there, but you're less likely to damage the lens if you have this on there. Plus, it does work, as it just kind of shade the sun a little bit. And always get some lens cap covers. I mean, these are inexpensive and they'll save a multi-$1,000 scope. What I like about the Schmidt benders is that everything on them is tight and stays tight. You have your ocular ring out here where you can adjust the magnification to make sure that your reticle is in focus. So depending on what type of, if you wear glasses or contacts, you can adjust this outer ring. I'm not going to take the cap off to show you. It's just a rubber ring there. Okay, here, let me show you. All right, there we go. So this is rubber ring here. So what you do is you just adjust this rubber ring in and out, and it's got a, plus minus 0 there, and it's got a little white dot right there. And then as you turn the ring, that white dot moves back and forth. I'm not going to move it because I like it where it is, but as you rotate this in and out, it adjusts for your prescription or for your eye so that you can get the reticle in focus. Then you got your magnification ring here, and then what I like about these Schmidt benders is these gigantic knobs. They're really nice and easy to grab and move, and they click super solidly. Everything is made out of brass. This top one here has a ring that shows you the very top piece here. I don't know if you can all see that, but the very top ring here has a 1 in it right now. You can see the window there. There's a bunch of windows all the way around, and it says 1 right now. So that means it's at the first level of elevation. And there's, I think, 3 or 4 levels. So that would be 1, 2, 3, depending on how high up you were moving the reticle. The side ones don't have that. The windage adjustments just have yellow lines and white lines. So it tells you this window here would change, this window right here would change from black, which it is now, it would change to yellow, which means you're at the second level of windage as you're going across. And what I really like too is this just beautiful parallax adjustment on the side. I mean, you can really, just with your fingertips, you can adjust it nice. And it doesn't move unless you really make it move. It's solidly built. And I've shot thousands of rounds with this scope and never had an issue with it. It's just fantastic. I do have this little leveler on here, you can see. I like that because as you're looking through the scope, you can see here, it'll show you, if you're level here. So what I would do is I'd lay down on the firing line. That would be, there. Now you can use it either way. I could leave it there. I don't have to move it out to the side because I can still see it here just fine. And it shows me that it's level or not. But what I used to do is I just flip it out to the side, and you can adjust it. It's really nice. This is a really nice addition to any scope. I have them on all my scopes. And then it shows you your bubble level, which you adjust when you're mounting the scope in the rings. You put this on at the same time and adjust it. If that adjustment goes out of whack, there's a screw under here and a screw under here that you can adjust to fine tune it so that it's perfectly level when your rifle's level. But I always put one of those on. I'll have to put the name of it in the comments section. I forgot what brand it is. They're not cheap, but they're awesome. I love them. I use this all the time on long range shooting. And if you're doing a precision rifle event, you're probably not going to have it out here because you're going to be running back and forth to places. You can leave it there and still see, you can still see that it's, whether or not it's level. Yeah, you can still see the level bubble in there as I turn it. Yeah, so that's kind of nice too. So the beautiful thing about the Schmidt benders is, yes, they do have a military contract with our Marine Corps. So they are the chosen scope of our Marine Corps snipers. And like I said, just super high quality. The clicks on these, again, I'm not going to move them, but the clicks on these are just incredible. One click here equals 1/8 change. So this says 1 click equals 1/8 MOA. So this one is actually an MOA. Sorry, I thought it was in mils. But so 1 click is 1/8 MOA. And that's what you really want to have in a long range scope. If 1 click equals 1/4 MOA at over 1,000 yards is a lot. 1/8 of a click or 1/8 of an MOA is better. It's half the amount, and it is a big difference. So in a long range scope, I always look for scopes that have a 1/8 MOA or adjustment per click. So that's what I always look for. But Schmidt Bender, if you want to look at their website for their different reticles, they have a whole bunch of different reticles for long range shooting. They do a great job with them. This one here is like I said, the 5 to 25 model. You can see that there. That's the 5 to 25 by 56 PM2. So same thing. This one is just illuminated, and then this cap just comes off here, and you can replace your battery right there. I don't store them with the batteries in them. I always take the batteries out just so they don't corrode the contacts. And again, I have another one of these levels on there because then you know you're always level. That's the nice thing about it. So Schmidt Bender scope, super durable. Come in multiple magnifications, big knobs that are easy to move and never loosen up. Just a fantastic, well-built, super durable scope that's costs a lot of money because it's worth a lot of money. All right, if any of y'all have any questions about Schmidt Bender scopes, let me know. Next up will be some of the other scopes I own, which will include Night Force and March. I even have a Valdata scope that I'll talk about. But so different scopes, I'm just going to go each brand each time I talk about them. And this is, again, a first focal plane Schmidt Bender PM2, which is police and military, and a 56 millimeter objective lens, and a 34 millimeter main tube, which is what you want. You want a good sized main tube. The smaller the main tube, the less light gets back to the eyepiece. And fully adjustable with a huge range of adjustment on it, and just rock solid. So if you have any questions about Schmidt Bender scope, first focal plane or second focal plane, or about these scope rings made by American Rifle Company, let me know. Thanks again for watching Doc G's Reloading.